you touched on politics. Let me carry on that with that just a little bit. So why has education and really about everything else in our culture become so political?
Well, you have to understand that there's big money in education. And secondly, he or she who controls the ideas controls the destiny of the nation.
Yeah.
And so we have groups in our nation that could care less about the children, but they care a lot about idea control.
Yep.
And so now you've got groups that are not interested in reading, writing, and arithmetic. They just want to make sure their agenda is in the middle of the education process. And so I say to people all the time now, serving as commissioner in South Carolina, appointed by the governor, we say all the time that the agenda of education has moved so far from the child and has become a political football for self-interest groups. And when you have those types of ideas invading the education space, you see exactly what we saw in Virginia, where you have to downgrade math and say, this is not what we want for everyone, because you've got to make everybody the same and everybody doing the same. And that's just not working in today.
Well, that's the truth. I mean, I think that's just increasingly become the case. I think everybody sees that, and parents are frustrated by it. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't really know what to do, and they think, what can I do? And they feel like, their hands are tied. But for sure, what you said is that a lot of interest groups are out there, and they're using it as a football to their own political advantage. I mean, I guess that's just the way things happen. But I think it's important that people need to know that everybody has a voice, and those things can be managed to some extent when people express themselves and really focus on putting the child first.
Yes. Well, I would say this to you, that I did not want to abdicate my responsibility as a citizen nor as an educator. And that's why I got involved. When you talk about getting involved, I have the scars on my back to show all the beatings. I've had to have police protection because I've taken on special interest. I've taken on the drug lobby. I've taken on the gambling associations. I've taken on some of the groups, special interest groups that are now involved. And they have attacked me. They put me out on the internet. They tried to destroy me in every way they could. And you're going to get scarred. But as I said to my mother, she's like, son, I'm so afraid. I'm afraid you're going to get shot. Somebody's going to take you out. You're just being too bold and standing for moral principles and the things you believe in. And my mother is absolutely wants me to be that. Okay. And I told her, I said, this country was not founded on weak people who didn't stand for principle. This nation was founded on principles of morality and righteousness and God. And so my responsibility is to stand. I just came from a commissioner meeting. In fact, I'll have one this week as well. I'm one of a few voices that was speaking up about some programming that's coming into our nation that's going to train Muslim clerics across the state of South Carolina. And they banned Christianity from this university. And I'd like to say the name. I don't know if that's possible, but this university is banning Christianity, but allowing Islam to be taught. And so at that board meeting, commission meeting, I said, when you say as dean, you cannot teach Christianity, that is an absolute absurdity. You can teach that as much as you can teach Islamic thought. And so if you're not a voice and not involved, you don't have those opportunities to speak up and say, hey, there's another way to think. And we got outvoted 9-3, if you can believe it, on the commission in South Carolina, and that program was approved. But it's because we don't have enough Christians and enough great people who will stand and be involved. And I don't know where your show's going, but I'm going to say this. Every single person should get involved and get on their local school board, and they need to get involved and get on committees in Washington, D.C. And I go, and I know a lot of the senators, Democrat and Republican, and they know me by first name. And there's one out there that stands strongly on LGBT issues, yet he calls me and asks me to come in to spend a day with him for advice and prayer. And he says, Mark, can you ever support me? And I said, no, not on the biblical principle. I cannot support where you are, but I can love you and I can have input instead of 25-year-olds in Washington telling him this is the right thing to do. And that's why I'm involved in these processes.